it is my distinct pleasure to welcome to the stage right now the Sabrina the Teenage Witch cast reunion. Let's give a big welcome right now for Beth Broderick, Melissa Joan Hart, and Caroline Ray. Your dress brings me joy.
My dress is in celebration of pride.
Woo!
We are your 3 witch allies, are we not? Yes.
I love that. Welcome everyone. And as you can see, you have just a phenomenal audience here today. 25 years or so. Shh. Hush, you sweet summer child. But no, I think what I love about that though is I imagine in the moment when you were working on the show, it was just part of what we did when we watched TV. It was episodic television. There was no binge watching. You showed up at a certain time to watch. Mm-hmm. And now here we are, all these years later with an entire new audience. Can you reflect on that? I know for you, I've seen you talk about this in the past. It's something you're most proud of.
I would absolutely say this was definitely the biggest gift of my career, was doing this show, because it gave us access to children, and it made children happy, and you can't really ask for a better job that's doing that. Yeah. Plus, we are witches in my mind,
and we really are family too. Yeah. And it just, you know,
we really are. She's a very mean older sister. She really is.
I'm not, but I'm a little strict, as we know. But you know, the people will always ask me, well, what's your favorite job you've ever done? And I'm like, the one that's beloved by young people all over the world? That one. That's
the one that's made me be called a witch in every country I've ever gone to. Literally, they're like, strega. And I'm like, what? What does that mean? Bruja. Yeah.
When they call you by your character name instead of your name.
I answer to Aunt Hilda every day. I would never not. Yeah. In fact, yesterday,
she calls Harvey, like Nate is Harvey.
I can't call him Nate. I can't do it.
She's like, she's like, it's Auntie here. I'm like, you're not really my aunt.
Oh, that's so mean.
I know you all think she is.
But we are really her aunt. So
but you are. You guys actually are. Because actually then when you're not around, I actually am like, well, they're my aunties.
Melissa, what's it like for you to reflect back on what this has become over time?
It was like the best time of my life. It was, you know, people talk about their high school years forever, right? Like 4 years, you're in high school, you talk about those days, the good, the bad, the ugly. And you do this show for 7 years, and we're all together for so long, and through thick and thin, I mean, you're there from 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. the next day. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's endless weeks and hours and rehearsals and fittings and special effects and cats and all this stuff. And so how can you not bond and have, like, you know, there's a camaraderie about, like, working together in those circumstances. Mm-hmm. And it's intense, and it's fun, and it's silly, and it's emotional, and we go through marriages and divorces and children and with the crew and everybody. You know, we have 100-something people on the set, 120-person crew, and we all went through so many ups and downs. We traveled together, we partied together, we had fights together, you know, so you just, you know, you take all those memories and you bottle it up into 7 years, and you're going to remember that the rest of your lives. So.
I would just like to say I've never been married or divorced. I just like to say.
I have
engaged. I like
time.
Yeah, you went through a lot, and so on average, yeah.
I gave it a whirl. Okay, I gave it a whirl. But I can remember leaving my trailer and walking to the set one day, and I hear this huge commotion in the costume room, and I look in, and they're attempting to measure a chicken for a tuxedo, like a live chicken. Now, how many people can go to work and tell you that?
Yep. Like I loved it because we filmed at Paramount next to. Someone here will know the correct answer to this. One of the Star Trek.
Star Trek.
It wasn't Star Trek though.
It was with Jerry Ryan.
Voyager. Well, it was Renee Auberjonois. Yes. Deep Space Nine. It was Deep Space Nine. Thank you.
Nicely done.
And it made me so happy because we had to arrive at work at like 5:30, and of course they'll make fun of me because I lost my ID maybe day 2, and everybody went through like the actors lane, and I had to go through visitors for like a year before I got my stupid ID redone. And every day they'd be like, "Are you a writer?" No. Are you a gaffer? No. I'm on the show. Have we established this? And then I would drive in. It would be 5:30 in the morning, and there would be a Klingon having a smoke and drinking a Coke. And I was like, this is the greatest job in the entire world. There's just like a Klingon. He's like, I'm like, it's insane. But also, we never saw the show, so we didn't know. We got renewed before we'd ever seen an episode. We got renewed for like 2 years. And I remember walking down the street in New York City, and there were like a group of like maybe 11 and 12-year-old kids. And they ran towards me, and I'm like, I'm gonna be mugged by tweens right now, and I'm just gonna give them all of my money. And they like, which I'm sure you guys have had that, they like group hugged me. They were like, we love the show. And I'm like, I've never seen it.
Well, because think about the technology, right? So this wasn't, nowadays, I can watch whatever I want on my phone on an airplane. That was not a thing. That was not a thing.
No, we were handed, we would work all week, and Fridays were our one night we could go late because nobody had to come in the next day. So we would oftentimes, the first like 3 or 4 seasons, we worked until 2 a.m. on Friday nights.
We would work at like 11. She would work another several hours doing like outfits and green screens.
All the opening titles happened on Friday night.
They were so cute.
But it was just hard, putting on the like Carmen Miranda fruit hat in the middle of the night and trying to like be like, oh, look at my
You're
mom.
talking to the right crowd, okay? They're like, tell me about it.
It's, dressing up on a Friday night.
There was no CGI, so all the special effects were practical, which took a long time.
And Friday evenings, afternoons, they'd come in and hand us our VHS copies of our show. Here you go, here's tonight's episode, because you couldn't leak it beforehand, but you got your VHS, and they're like, here you go, you can watch your show for tonight. I'm like, I'm gonna be here until 2 in the morning, and the last thing I'm gonna do is wake up Saturday morning and watch last week's episode that we shot 2 months ago that I don't remember, so it wasn't like you could just stream it or, even later on when I was doing Melissa and Joey, pop in a DVD, but this was like put in the tape, fast forward the commercials,
But now I'm mesmerized when the show comes on, because I didn't watch any of it until my daughter turned 7, and then every night we watched an episode for as long as it lasted. And then remember, I called you, I'm like, you were so good on this show.
I kept that.
Oh my God, message. You were so good. I had no idea. And I called everyone.
I do think about that a lot. No, I'm like, Carolyn thought I was funny. I guess, okay.
You were so funny. It was like, it's one of those shows. It's like that awful movie with Cher and Christina Aguilera. I can't not watch it. What is that? If they're here, I'm gonna literally give you each $1 million, okay? What's it called? Okay, when a lot of people yell, you can't hear, so one of you say it. Burlesque. It's the worst thing in the universe, but you can't not watch it. It's like, oh my God, this is awful. Well, why don't you change? Stop it, I love this part. And I find, there was an article in the Wall Street Journal about how Sabrina is comfort television.
No, my favorite part of that article, this was just a few weeks ago, is that it said Sabrina and Friends. It was like we were put with Friends. Yeah. I was like, yes, we made it.
But all these people are saying that they're, this is obviously we're living in very scary times, and the only way they can get to sleep is if they watch an episode of Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Which is both a compliment and an insult, in a way.
No, well, it's funny, because people have always said to me, my favorite compliment that people come up and say is, I grew up with you. And now the new thing is, I go to sleep with you. That's hilarious. I've been hearing that a lot recently. I'm like, oh, I love that. I go to sleep with you. Aww.
The only time it bothers me is when the person is bald, because I realize I have gone through an entire hair follicle cycle with a human being. They're like, oh my God, I loved you, and you're bald. So that's all.
So is Harvey. So Nate.
So you know what? Nobody. Oh, Harvey.
It's when they watch you and the kids watch you.
Adorable.
Yeah. I understand. Let's get to a question over here. Come on up.
First of all, may I please see how Sabrina the Teenage Witch is signed? That's it? Really?
Wait. Show us Sabrina.
Show us witch.
Oh, you have to spell it. Yeah.
You have to spell it? You can't just be like, that one? No?
You can't just ride a broom?
No? You just, flying a broom. Better. Very good. Very good. Yeah.
We love our signers.
Yeah, that's very good.
No question over here. Oh.
Yeah.
A witch. Oh, it's the nose.
It's the nose.
It's like a crooked nose.
Yes. I like it. Thank you, by the way, to the whole team.
I feel that is misrepresenting witches. We would prefer the broom.
Hold on, he's saying.
Oh.
Oh, I love that.
That's magic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you throw it.
Thank you.
That's
Very
magic
cool.
and a little bit of a spell. That was the only audition where you saw all these actors beforehand going like this. Like, you didn't know how we were going to do the magic.
Oh, we didn't know how to do. Yeah, we didn't know what to do with the magic. Except that I did know in the comic book when we did the movie. In the comic book, she always pointed at things. So I was like, but I can't just point. That's weird. So I did the flick. Like it was like, I'm gonna flick, because at least that's something.
I was supposed to be the pyromaniac witch, but the guy who did our special effects was just a maniac. And
Blew some people up on our set.
yeah, and set people on fire all the time.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, look, Libby's pants have exploded. And so every time.
they disintegrated. They disappeared. On
I
the-
knew when I went like this, there was going to be like this special effects. So I'm not kidding. If you rewatch season 1, I'm like this.
This is how she
I was like, I don't want to turn it into that. It's going to be an explosion.
Also, when the cat, because the cat would have this long spoon clicker, so he would look up.
Yeah, I looked
and
fine.
they would, and she would, the spoon would be over here, so the cat would look like at us, and she's supposed to be looking at the cat, and you hear click, click, and she.
Yeah. Now, I was fully trained in like 4 days. I'm like,
She's very Pavlovian.
yeah.
I love it. I love it. What's your name? Where are you from?
Hi, I'm Amber. I'm
Amber.
from Winchester, Virginia, and I had a question because
I want to know what this cute little outfit is, please.
I am Stitches from Animal Crossing.
Well, that is obvious. Okay.
Thank you. So the magic definitely came through the television as you were watching Sabrina growing up. So I want to know, what was the creative process like for y'all on set, creating these characters and just bringing them to life?
It was a lot of talking behind the scenes, a lot of chit chat, a lot of conversations, and then we tried to work.
I think they played to our own personalities quite a bit.
That's
I mean, she will boss me.
She likes to be the smarty pants.
She's the smarty pants.
I like to be the brat, and she likes to be the wise ass.
I can't find, like, it's a miracle that if the magic hadn't been in my hand, I would never have found it for any of the episodes. You know what I mean? But there's an episode that we did magic. So this is what would happen. Okay, so she's zapping in a bottle, right? So the first shot is pointing and it's blank. And then the next shot is the bottle, right? And then I guess what would we do in the third shot? It would be like whatever the magic
Yeah,
was.
2 bottles.
But we had done this so many times that we were filming, and so we had to do the magic. Do you remember this? And I went like this. And then we're filming, I go like this, okay. Then Beth is like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm doing the magic. The camera is rolling. Like, it was just...
There was one time we had to all do wardrobe changes, but one at a time. So anytime there was like one of these, like ding, I mean, it looks like it takes 5 seconds, right? But we have to go leave the stage. They had to tape off our shoes. So our special effects guy is the same guy who does Game of Thrones. And so he's like a producer on Game of Thrones, but he was our Steve Kullback was our special effects coordinator. And he, so we would, if we pointed to ourselves, they would tape our feet. We'd have to kind of make note of how this felt. They'd grease pencil it on a tube television nearby. And when we went and changed, then you'd have to put on whatever elaborate costume or whatever you had to do, come back in and stand in that exact spot and try to line up with the grease pencil and then try to like mimic your exact action, get in that same position, and he'd yell action. And it was very, very complicated.
It's literally like this. Move 1 inch to your left, mooch.
No, it's
and
like
then move 1
chin-
inch to your right. I'm like,
Chin
well,
down.
that's where I started.
Nose towards us.
Yeah, pinky. This
Close your
way,
eyes
yeah.
a little. Squint. Lift your shoulders up. You're like, is this good? Is this really how I was before? And they're like, yep, that's it. So it was very complicated. Nowadays, all you have to do is go boop, go change, boop, and they'll like match it.
I remember when Terry Garr was on the show and they said to her, and now you disappear, and she goes, I don't know how.
Yeah. So it was a little bit tricky, but but the one we had to do this one where it was like, I think you went first, you went bink, and then she had to change. So we had to wait for her to change, and we timed ourselves. I was like, I know sometimes it takes some of us a little longer than others to.
This is what I'm talking about. This kind of
Take
abuse.
Caroline a very
change.
long time.
So we were like, all right, let's time everybody and see who can get back faster. And I think it took you like 32 minutes.
It did not take me 30. These
You
are
came back
lies,
after like
people.
16. I think
Lies.
mine was like 1.5. I was like, woo! Like I won. I was so excited.
I
But-
was distracted by shiny things, probably. I don't know.
Like cat clicker, I hear it.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for your question. Hi, question over here.
Hello. Am I close enough? I know there's like an echo sometimes.
Can I tell you, I am an actress. Going up to a mic and doing that would terrify me. So go ahead. I'm just telling you, that would be scary.
So pretty early on in the Sabrina lore, it's established that the witches can conjure items, but not name brand items. So like instead of Pepsi, you give Harvey a Popsi and stuff like that. If you right now could conjure an item, but it would be off-brand, what would it be?
I would have a brand new orange phone.
Wow, you're good. I can't top that.
This chair is making us look 95 years old. It's like this couch is like sucking us in.
I know. I'm sinking.
They got so old. It's like
I would-
then in the 1950s. Yeah.
I love the gum Big Red, so maybe I'd go with like Big Pink.
Works.
What do you think? Little Pink?
I don't know. I'm so not
I
into
feel
things.
that Big Pink and Little Pink have dirty connotations. I don't know. I don't think that Viacom would have been like, yeah, let's go with the Big
No,
Pink.
they would love that. Hold
No.
on. We made a lot of jokes about corn. We had this producer named Ken, and we constantly made jokes about corn. And if you go back and watch the episodes, the corn jokes are always asshole jokes. Like that's what corn stands for, asshole. Like that's what we were.
Again, just finding this out like you people too, right now.
You didn't know that?
No.
I'm not
I feel like I was
sure
on a
what that
different
had to do
show.
with that question, but there you have it.
Just like generic.
What
like,
kind of
or, like,
creative mind are you that you just came up with this? We're letting Beth, this is not Beth's strong point, but she will beat any of you on Friends with Words. Okay. Words, whatever they are. What?
Sabrina was my favorite show growing up, and I actually went to college to write television because of shows like this.
This is so nice that there was some part of like, see, this is why I have such a weakness for your generation. I'm not kidding. Like I used to make this joke, if every maitre d' in the world were 8 years old, I could get into any restaurant. But now you're all like in your 30s and I can. And it's so helpful.
It is. That's true.
It is. It's so nice
Well, when
to
you
be.
have a degree like mine, I'm probably going to be and working in a restaurant.
Yeah, you know what? We all are eventually. So don't worry. That's such a good question. Did you think of one? No.
I didn't. No, I'm not that kind of person.
I know you're not. Yeah, okay.
Thank you so much. And good luck with your writing career. Hi, question over here.
Hi.
Oh, see, you're so much less terrifying without your terrifying mask. This guy has the most terrifying masks on. It's more frightening than the disease. Look.
He's producing it now.
He's got a few others.
Oh, look, he's got a book. What book is that?
He's got
Cobra by Timothy Zahn.
Okay.
But that was
yeah,
the
that
other
one's-
one.
Okay, that one's scary.
Scary.
So,
And then he's got the less scary, terrifying skeleton. All right. I have a relationship with him already, okay?
So, Kyle Hart, I'm from Charlestown, West Virginia. And my question was, you already mentioned your feline co-star. Do you have any good stories about any trouble that they got up to on set?
Oh, well, all kinds. I mean, there were so many cats, and I no longer like cats. I became a dog person during those years.
I love cats, and I always had to be mean to the cat, so that I was like apologizing. I will tell you one thing. We often, after you get so used to talking to that cat, that you're like talking and you realize there are no cameras on right now, and the cat and I are.
And I'd be
I mean, a lot had happened. We're like, we're talking though. Yeah.
The real cats. So the thing about the difference between working with cats and dogs is dogs will eat and eat and eat until they die. Cats will only eat so much, and when they're full, they're like, screw you, I'm not doing anything else. So you have to have a lot of them because they get full and they won't do crap anymore. So you got to like remove them, bring in the new cat. So we had lots of cats, but Nick,
Elvis was the best.
Elvis was the one.
main
You have to understand
cat.
the cats, when they looked like they were going for food, is when they talked. So they were going. And
Or they
if,
put,
if
like,
a
peanut
cat
butter
was
on their
full, they were
teeth
like.
yeah. No, but
We
the
did
cat.
have a very big cat, a lion, one day that got loose.
Panther.
It had a invisible fence, and it just was like, yeah, to hell with that. Boom, went right through it. And the script supervisor went home and didn't come back that day.
We were all told to climb on things. Don't you remember
I
that?
wasn't in that scene, but I was told everybody
was like,
inside
they were
had to
like,
elevate.
climb on this. I mean, it's the only show. Yours is so great with that chicken, but my favorite memo ever was, do not make direct eye contact with the panther. It's like,
Or we had an alligator that started to do a death roll with the cushions of the couch, and our friend Maury, who played she's the puppeteer who did the the puppet when, like Salem the puppet, so she'd be underneath the cat wherever it was. So she was under the couch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but when she was under the couch, the alligator decided to take one of the pillows and do a death roll, and she didn't know what to do. She's sitting under the couch, like there's just a drape between her and this alligator doing a death roll.
Yeah, I had it on a leash. I was holding it on a leash.
Now, I'm just going to tell you,
It whipped around and bit the sofa, and that my leg
They
was
never
like
put me in the
here.
animal stuff.
Yeah.
They just put you guys in
This
danger.
one is like beyond a softie, right? And there's like some horrifying reptile and she's like, no, don't touch the salamander. I'm like, yeah, don't touch the salamander.
I liked it.
Well, one of our to actually answer your question, one of our bloopers that I remember specifically was, I think there were deviled eggs on the counter or something, and when the cat would do stuff, the first few seasons we had Nick Bakay, who was our writer / voice of the cat. He wasn't there for all the seasons, so he couldn't ad-lib later on, but one of the seasons there were these deviled eggs, and he would just ad-lib when the cat did something, and I just remember this one where he's like, eggs. Like he went over to the eggs, and so like Nick just started talking about the cat loving eggs, and so he just started like going off. So it's in our bloopers.
We used to go to these conventions for NatP, and the cat would be with us, the puppet. And then the puppet would be like, nice tie, asshole. And we're like, oh my God. Remember? He was like, I'm like, no, I can't do that.
It's the side of the cat no one needs to see. Thank you for your question. Oh, we put the mask on for you too, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, is that not scary?
There you go.
Question over here.
Hello, my name is Joseph from Arlington, and I have a question for Melissa. Like, I remember there was like this Sabrina animated series, and like you were gonna be voicing the aunts. So how did it feel from like playing Sabrina to playing her aunts, like voicing her aunts?
Yeah, it was weird. I'm not much of a voiceover artist, but my sister was going to play Sabrina because it was a prequel Sabrina. So Sabrina was a tween and the aunts were teens, which is why, even though I was like in my 20s when I was doing this, I was playing the aunts. And I just wanted to give them two different voices, but I'm not so sure I succeeded at that. But I have a lunchbox that has the animated cast on it, so that was fun.
I found the original video game. I have it in a box.
Oh, like a CD-ROM.
Yes, that's what it is. Thank you.
There was also a jigsaw puzzle with all of our faces, but I can't.
I'm going to tell you a story about that jigsaw puzzle, okay? Apparently, photo editing was not big in the 90s, because if you are one of the 9 people that bought that puzzle, my double chin is a separate piece. Nothing has made my family happier. Because they were like, where's Kara's chin? Where's the other chin piece? I was like, you can't edit out one chin. I'm a separate piece. Thanks for that bitter memory.
Thank God for filters.
Thank you for the question. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Question over here.
Hi, I'm Anna Hollingsworth from Vienna, Virginia. I was wondering, what is each of your guys' favorite lines from the show?
Oh, like we remember them. That's adorable. Could you make that like bigger and say episode?
Episode.
Yeah. So line. I mean, woohoo, I'm normal. Got to go tell the cat, right? That's that's because all of you guys asked me to write that. So that's how I remember that one. But I do remember that one. Woohoo, I think it's like a meme or something. Woohoo, I'm normal. Got to go tell the cat. Right? Or Harvey loves Sabrina. There's some other. I did watch one episode with my kids where I had to clone myself for a Halloween party, and it was the. Actually, I signed that on something today. There was. I have to say I programmed my clone self to say 4 things, I think it was. So, Mr. Poole is such a dork or something. You guys know. Who knows? Oh, Mr. Poole is so annoying. And, there's a few others, right? What else? What is it? Oh, I'd love to. That's right, yeah. There's like 4 things she had to say, and I watched that one back, and that one's fun. So some of those things. For some reason, my son kept saying, Mr. Poole is so annoying. And my son walks around the house going, Mr. Poole is so annoying.
Caroline and I loved the episode where we made men out of dough.
Oh, yeah.
That was really a fun one. Yeah.
Yes, again, imitating life. Zelda made a super hot fireman, Eddie Cibrian, and I made Tom Wilson, who ignored me. So, and then Tom Wilson played my husband in another series, which is pretty weird. I always say this, like, it's when we turned into boys, because she drank boy beer.
Oh, yeah.
And she was super cute as, like, a little boy. I went with the big, creepy, like, biker choice, no offense to any bikers. And then I remember Melissa and I were like, Beth is a super hot guy. This is weird. She came out, remember? You were like super hot kind of 70s dude. You were,
I look like my brother, so that was weird.
What's your favorite eepisode?
Oh, God, I'm asked this all the time. That's a hard question, though.
Yes, imagine.
See? Bring the answer.
I do like the pancakes one when she turns into it, that one. I love that one.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
I do really like the Halloween episode that you mentioned. I think that's probably one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Well, Halloween were our Christmas episodes, so we were like Johnny Mathis was literally sitting there, standing, singing us
Our
Christmas
guest stars
carols,
were
and
the
we were
best.
like,
No, we had the best guest stars ever.
Oh my God,
I just remember
amazing.
my son just watched it the other day. He said he saw I have a podcast, you guys, What Women Binge. I expect you all to subscribe right now. But my son, we just had Nate, who played Harvey, on the podcast, and my son heard it and goes, "Who's this guy?"
Harvey on the podcast.
Sorry. No, we had Nate on the podcast, and Nate, so my son hears it and he's like, "Who's this guy?" I'm like, "Oh, he played Harvey on Sabrina. You should really YouTube the last episode of Sabrina," because I run off with him and I leave my wedding and I run off with Harvey. Spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen episode 163.
Someone right now is like, I was not caught up.
Oh, there was a little boy here that was just starting to go through it. Sorry. Anyway, hi. But my son is like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you ran off with him and like left your wedding and you're in a wedding dress. Like, well, I don't understand. Like, why? What about daddy?" I'm like, well. He found out that actually I was engaged to my husband on the last episode. So like I was already engaged by our last season.
That's so cute.
He was a little upset that daddy wasn't part of this whole thing.
I remember when my daughter asked me, she goes, "Mummy, are you the same mummy that's on television?" And I was like, with better hair and makeup, yes, I am that person. That's Mummy.
Yeah, I've had kids, my niece and nephew, call me sobbing uncontrollably because I got thrown over a balcony in a movie and was lying in a pool of blood, and they honestly thought I was dead. So I had to go, no, I'm alive. How could I be talking to you if I was dead? And they're like, "No, you're dead." I'm like, no, it's ketchup. That worked. It's ketchup.
So going back to the pancake scene, are you just eating pancakes for 50 takes as you're running around from table to table? Like how,
I don't remember. When I was really little, I did a Fritos commercial. And in the Fritos commercial, it had something to do with somebody saying, you have to, I did a Twinkies commercial too. I never ate Twinkies again. I can eat Fritos now, but there was like this thing where I had to eat an entire meal. Meatloaf, mashed potatoes, I think peas, and then drink an entire glass of milk. It's something like my mom says, you can't have Fritos until your dinner's done. And so I ate it in real time and they sped it up, but they made me eat like 3 or 4 of these meals. I was about 8 years old. And then I had to eat like a bag or 2 of Fritos. And my mom said they had a spit bucket for me, but I was too embarrassed to actually spit it out. And so I think my mom said I actually turned green. She said she's never seen anyone actually turn green before. But I turned green. And so after that, I learned to use a spit bucket. So I think for the pancake episode, I had a spit bucket nearby.
Okay, would you ask me what the name of my autobiography is?
I know.
What's the name of your autobiography?
I know. It's I ate all my prop food.
Thank you.
That's true. Caroline would just eat hers, and I would be like,
What am I? Did I not just say mean oldest sister? It's true. Caroline would just eat hers.
And I just mess around with my napkin. Anytime I'm in a scene,
and I would be like,
take
I
the
had
napkin.
ways of
I am
taking
like-
a bite without ever taking a bite. Yeah.
Yeah, no, Beth was like, over the shoulder. Yeah.
By the way, that food's like 8 hours old anyway. It's not like something delicious you want to eat.
Oh, I remember. Okay, I remember my favorite line from an episode. This is a big moment, everybody. Okay. She was on a spaceship, and I was eating like Cheerios, and I went in the spoon, and then you were in the spaceship and I said, "Hello."
Hello? That's your favorite line?
7 years or 6 years. That's the only line I remember. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for your question, too. I'm glad we got there. Now you know, right?
That's like when I couldn't remember my passcode. And they're like, I'm not kidding. The guy called with like 50 options. And I'd call him, I'd be like, David Cassidy. I love David Cassidy. Try that. And the guy goes, I love David Cassidy too, but it's not a password. It was literally like ABCD. I remembered it. I was so excited.
Hi, how are you? Question over here.
Hi, my name is Katrina. I'm from Puerto Rico, and so I love watching you guys in Sabrina the Teenage Witch, but I also love you guys in Hallmark, because, you know, having 60-plus-year-old parents, they love their Hallmark. So my question to you is, do you guys have a favorite Hallmark movie, and will we ever see you in a Hallmark movie, all three of you together?
That's a good idea.
We should definitely be in one.
We should definitely do that, yeah.
Well, first of all, it's Lifetime.
First of all, it's Hallmark.
I mean, there is Hallmark.
Okay. No.
There's also Lifetime.
I am Mrs. Miracle. I replaced Doris Roberts in the Hallmark movies, and we're about to do another one. So yeah, I'm going to tell them. I'm like, if you're going to have somebody play my sister, you know, she's done tons of them. So.
I went right over my face.
Oh, I'm sorry. The Lifetime girl will not be in the Hallmark movie. The four-picture deal of Lifetime, in which she has a Lifetime movie next week that you guys all have to see, called...
Oh, next week, Dirty Little Secret.
Don't get excited, it's about hoarding.
It's not a Christmas movie, I'm a hoarder.
Well,
Do you at least hoard Christmas decorations?
Yeah, but Beth and I did one together called The Very Merry Toy Store.
and that's on Lifetime, but I go back and forth between Hallmark and Lifetime, which is not traditionally done. But
Yes, it does. It's very fluid now in the world.
I
You
have
can be...
yeah.
What's a good word?
I have.
You
yeah,
could be
yeah,
Halleye.
I'm bi-channel.
Yeah.
Yes, but
That's awesome.
I have one called a Perfect Christmas List that's really a lot of fun. And my favorite Hallmark that I did was Christmas Town with Candace Cameron Bure. That was really fun.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for the question.
Very Toy Store but it was the most fun to do.
I know.
Hi, how are you?
Hello,
Hi.
I'm Jeff from
Jeff.
Ashburn, Virginia.
What does your shirt say, Jeff?
I'm getting too
It
old.
says, I'm getting too old for this crit.
For this crit.
Great.
Okay.
Or shit.
Someone will explain it to me. All right. Of course it's Dungeons and Dragons. Thank you. I knew that. No. I have a daughter. She doesn't play that. Okay.
Definitely my favorite episode of Sabrina is the one where Sabrina was talking about ice cream in another language. I think it might have been Chinese. I think so it was saying like, oh, they're speaking in tongues.
Do you remember that?
Oh my God.
You have to understand that we would film an episode and then it would be walking a week later at Paramount and we would play a game going, what was last week's episode about?
We have
And none
no
of us
idea
could
what last
remember.
week's episode was. But the thing about it, I've been interviewing a lot of friends and actors on my podcast, and every actor has the same story about like your short-term memory has to be so sharp, but you don't commit anything to long-term memory because it has to like you put it in, you have to hold on to it, and then you have to delete it and flush it.
Yeah, no
So nothing
kidding.
stays in
Hello
long-term
is the
memory.
only word I remember from like all those years. Yeah.
Anyways.
I do remember that. It was Salem that spoke in it.
Yes, it was.
I gotcha. I remember
Yes.
that.
My question is, all right. Do you guys have any stories about Martin Mull on set that you guys want to share?
Well, we were just actually talking about Martin backstage because Martin was a huge influence on Nate Richards' life, who played Harvey. He was just wonderful. He would invite us over. He'd play music. He was an artist, so I still have his art hanging in my house. I mean, I say was, like he still
I
is.
have two of his paintings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Martin is a genius.
Didn't he marry both of you on the show?
I think
No, he was my boyfriend, and then
he married
and then
you.
Zelda was like, "No, he's my boyfriend." I'm like, "Whatever, okay." And he told me I was hosting the Writers Guild Awards, and he gave me the best joke in the world. Okay, some people have a way with words. Some people not have way. Martin went to the Rhode Island School of Design. But my favorite thing in the world was I had to wrestle him when I was a boy. And we had to
in the boy
literally
episode.
wrestle on the ground. and he made every cameraman like laugh so hysterically.
Yeah, he was everybody's best friend. He's awesome.
He was funny. He said he got some award. I can't remember why he won it. And his daughter was about 12 at the time. And she turned to his wife and said, "Why would they give him an award? All he does is fart and smoke."
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Question over here to you.
Hi, my name's Allison, and I've watched the entire show like 10 times. And I wanted to ask, what was your least favorite stunt or arc to do?
Oh, mine was definitely when I had to do the Cirque du Soleil stuff up on the tightrope. That was actually hung in a room like this, really, really high, probably about as high as that speaker. And it was literally just a rope. And what they did was they put a rope around my waist. I didn't have like a harness on or anything. They put a rope around my waist, and someone was on the back of the ladder, up high with me, holding on to the other end. I wasn't tied to anything. There was a giant net underneath, and our doubles were gonna do it, but they were like, just take a few steps out on the tightrope. I'm like, what if I fall? They're like, you'll fall in the net, but like some of the professionals were like, you can't fall in that net unless you know how to fall, you'll break your leg. So I remember being like, I don't think this rope, if I fall, is gonna catch me as I hang from my stomach. This doesn't seem safe. But everything else was super safe that we did, except that felt really scary.
Well, not everything.
Oh, okay.
And this was my doctor would be like, so what? So they dumped hundreds of pounds of lima beans on your head, and now you need a neck brace? Like I was constantly going. Once they flew me, and then I had to go to the doctor because I had blood in my urine. I mean, that guy got hurt all the time on that show.
That is the name of Beth's book, Blood in My Urine.
How I got hurt every time.
I remember, can I tell you what mine is? Cute little child that's watched this show 10 times? I've told this before. So I'm standing here, I'm on my line. It's when she moves out, we're going into a scary neighborhood. There's a pigeon. The pigeon comes over. At the last minute, Beth goes, switch places with me. And I'm such a youngest child. I'm like, right? I switch places. The bird comes over, poops on my head. I'm like she just knew intuitively at the last moment. So then they go, cut, that didn't work. I go, you go on that side now. I go over, bird comes, poops on my head over here.
Great question, Allison. All right, question over here.
Hi, my name is Vicky. I'm from Maryland, and I wanted to ask if you guys watched the new Sabrina on Netflix. And what are your thoughts?
Well, I didn't watch the whole thing, but we had to watch it together with Nate, and Netflix wanted to, I didn't understand this. They're like, we want to videotape you as you watch the new Sabrina. I was like, that sounds like the creepiest, weirdest, It's
like Mystery Science Theater 3000.
I
like
don't
we're
understand.
Be throwing stuff at the screen.
What if
Stop it!
I was like, what if I don't like it? But anyway, what they did was they ended up showing it to us on a laptop, just certain scenes they chose for us. So me and Nate watched it together, and you guys watched it together, right? And I was like, I think we all had the same reaction, like, that's really sexy. We weren't even allowed to, like, show our midriffs or whatever. And here they are, like, making out in a cave. I don't know.
Okay, we would never have allowed Sabrina to behave that way.
I had to make out once in the entire time I was on the show. And literally she's like this, ugh, it's so disgusting. And I'm like, I've watched you kiss Harvey for years
like
and
this.
years.
We kissed like this.
Yeah. Well, it's not like,
The new Sabrina was like, oh. So.
The new Sabrina, they were like naked. We were all like, oh, my goodness. Beth and I were on the new Sabrina. We did an episode. Yes. We didn't know we were killing the series. It turned out to be the last episode. Sorry. But there was so much smoke on the set because it was so dark, and I have asthma. Do you remember this? Like, it would be like every line, or like, it's such a different, it had literally like such dark lighting.
It was very different. Like that one, obviously, anyone that's seen it knows, like, ours was a sitcom. That was like a YA, like a darker, younger audience, more like a Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Right.
And then, like, ours was sitcom, theirs was single cam, so like episodic more, and then ours was magic, theirs was witchcraft, so like really different, I feel like it was a really different show.
Except Aunt Hilda is my good friend.
Totally different, but
Salem doesn't talk, and like there's a lot of differences. I feel like it was
There's
different.
no similarities except for our names.
Yeah. The character names that came from the original comic books.
Oh my God! They showed me the episode where I murdered you. The Zelda of that show murdered the Hilda. I was like, oh yeah. Oh my God!
I murdered her twice.
Yeah, murdered her twice. I've explained that I don't always read, I'm sure this is true, I don't always read all of the stage directions when I am given a part, which I realize is probably a mistake. And when we were flying to Vancouver, I'm like, of course we're going to do this. It's iconic, whatever. And then I realize, and then I read in the directions that we murder and eat people, and I'm like, oh, I should have read this. Oh God.
Caroline's like, we cannot eat people.
I'm like,
no.
I am not eating anyone. So 2 poor Canadian extras ate those people. It wasn't us. With a lot of blueberry jam. I'm like, whoa, I don't even like blueberry jam.
Thank you for the question. We have time for 1, maybe 2 more. Over to you first.
This question is pertaining to Melissa, and it is outside of the show.
Okay, you're terrifying me. I just want you to know that. I feel there's an Obi-Wan element here that's happening.
Could you tell me about the experience on the 1996 TV movie?
Twisted Desire.
Twisted Desire.
Yes. Twisted Desire.
I think we just shot the opening scene of a horror film, did we not? and then you are, okay.
Yeah, no, that was a movie I did actually way before we did Sabrina. I think I was 18 or 19. I think I was around 19 when I was asked to do that movie. And we shot it in the Carolinas. I think it was South Carolina. And I got to play a girl.
Yeah, but who do you play?
I play a character who is, her dad won't let her date David Lasher. David Lasher plays my boyfriend in it.
You're kidding.
No.
I didn't know you knew him from before.
So David.
Good question. I didn't know that.
David played my boyfriend, and my dad played by one of the Baldwins. Not Stephen.
Billy?
Daniel Baldwin, thank you.
Okay.
Danny Baldwin played my dad.
You know what? If there's ever a crowd that's going to know this stuff,
and
it's you guys.
Danny Baldwin's character, my mom and dad wouldn't let me date him, and so I start dating an even rougher character who then I set him up to want to kill my parents, so my parents will let us be together, and I frame him to commit the murder. So it's really
it's a natural segue to then play Sabrina.
It was a rip from the headlines, just like my one next weekend, Dirty Little Secret. Check it out.
Thank you for the question. Let's go over here for our last question.
All right. Hi, my name's Miriam. I'm from the DMV. It's great to see you guys together.
Did you just say you're from the DMV?
The DMV. DC, Maryland, Virginia.
I thought you meant like Department of Motor Vehicles.
Didn't you lose your badge?
Yeah,
she can help.
I need a new license while we're here. Okay.
Gotcha. This is a question real quick for the whole cast, and then also one for just Miss Hart. Who was you guys' favorite guest star on the show, just individually? Which one actor did you guys love working with?
We have so many great ones, but who was your favorite?
I have so many. You know what I watched? Your cute little clip with Britney Spears. I love that. Dom DeLuise was a genius and did like 50 million different ones. But Davy Jones,
I was gonna say Davy
although
Jones.
he relentlessly hit on Zelda,
Oh my God. He kept looking up at me going, I guess I just have to climb you.
Yeah.
Oh, and I just wanted
Again,
to
that is the name of her second book.
Gotcha.
And you will be wrapping it up.
Oh, yeah, and Miss Hart, I wanted to know...
if you call her Miss Hart, I'm going to turn into a 900-year-old woman, okay?
Melissa!
I can't.
What was your, how was it filming the film Can't Hardly Wait with all those people all together?
Oh, yeah, that was fun. How much time we got?
We don't.
We don't. It was interesting. Like, I was doing Can't Hardly Wait at night while we were shooting Sabrina during the day. And so there was actually scenes that were cut out of it where they were pushing us into, everybody pushes me. Remember the cops come into the movie and everybody has to flee the house? Well, there's a scene where they were supposed to push me in the pool. But I had been in the rain in the hallway of Sabrina all day and actually hit my head falling because I slipped in the hallway and during a scene. And I had hit my head, and then I had to go all night and go shoot the night scenes for this pool scene. And they had to keep pushing me and knocking me in the pool, and I had to keep climbing out, and they'd push me back in. And I didn't realize my shins got all bloody, and I was shivering. And the directors were like, I think you're shivering too much. We can't get this scene. So it didn't end up in the movie, but I fell in the pool about 15 times that night.
Not are you okay, but we can't get the scene.
We can't, no. I think they were like, no. They were like, I think that's enough. And I was like, no, I can do it. And I don't know what was I don't know if it was because I was shaking or what, but we never got the shot. I think it's because of all the stunts and people and stuff. So yeah.
I know we're going too long, but there are only two people left, and I promise not to answer. Go.
Oh,
just let him answer. Yes, quick.
Go. Okay. Go quick.
Okay.
Okay. If you ever got a chance to do a reboot of the show, would you?
Yes.
In a heartbeat.
Sure. That's a great question. All right. I love it. And right over here.
Oh, I just wanted to say, so I think something that's the reason that Sabrina. Do you think the reason that Sabrina has stood the test of time is because it has a really unique, the relationship of Sabrina and her aunts? It's this like familial relationship, a mother-daughter relationship, but that's different, that we don't see a lot on TV. Like we're used to seeing like moms fighting with daughters, sisters fighting a lot. Because I look back on it and I think, it's something I used to watch with my mom and my sister. And when I was growing up, and I think they had this Sabrina and her aunts had a really positive relationship that we're not used to seeing. We're used to seeing mothers
I think
and
the
daughters
positivity of the element of the show just is, I think that the driving force is positivity, but I think that the magic element, everybody wants that sort of escapism and that sort of fantastical, that's why we all love Game of Thrones and the dragons and stuff, right? Because you love that fantastical element of things that we don't get in this world, of wish fulfillment. And then also I think the fact that we all loved each other so much, and we were all, I think first of all, we were all loving, we were all fun, and we were all professional, made for a nice work environment, and that I think that comes across the screen. When you have a cast that loves each other, I think that comes across, and I think that's why the fans like it.
I also think it was women in charge.
Each other,
We were the only show that had women in charge.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
We were all
love
women.
It. And on that note, ladies, if I can get a selfie with you. Let's give it up right now for Miss Melissa Joan Hart, Caroline, Ray, and Beth Broderick. Thank you, ladies.
Hi, this is Michael Shanks, and you're watching Fandom Spotlite. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. The fate of the universe may depend on it. And have fun and follow your fandom.